We're joined now live from Kuala Lumpur by Sankara Naya, Anwar Ibrahim's defence lawyer. In fact, he's been a member of Anwar Ibrahim's legal team since his first trial on charges of sodomy back in 1998, that is. Sankara Naya, thanks very much for talking to the world this evening. I'd like to ask you more about how Anwar Ibrahim has reacted to this news himself. But first, as someone who's followed this matter as closely as you have for so many years now, what are your emotions tonight?
We are rather ecstatic and rather elated with the result that he doesn't have to go into prison. Given that this was not the case in the last two instances.
What was at stake for Anwar Ibrahim?
At stake will be the political prize, the prime ministership.
He was facing the prospect, as you mentioned, of going to jail. He must be a very relieved man tonight.
Absolutely, yes, it is. Indeed, there was a lot of emotions in the court. He himself, and then his family, his children, his wife, and the entire lot of supporters and friends.
The Australian government has greeted this decision, describing it as evidence the Malaysian legal system is evolving. The Malaysian government says it's proof of its independence. What's your assessment of your nation's legal system?
I beg to differ. One swallow doesn't make it a summer, and this is just one instance. I think a lot more has to be seen before we can come to that sort of a conclusion. I'm not optimistic about that, because I can even see a lot more persecution perhaps coming against Anwar.
Well, why do you attribute this decision then to a legal system which you question its independence?
Well, I can say for a fact that we had a very strong case in the last, in 1998, and there are two cases then. And we had overwhelming evidence. They didn't have any evidence, and we had a rather overwhelming defense. And yet, he was found guilty. Even in this case, for that matter, in the first part of it, when we closed the prosecution's case, there was even a finding that the accused, the complainant was a witness of truth. It's as if there was a clear case of prejudgment. And then suddenly there's an about turn. So how do we account for all that?
Has there been international pressure brought to bear on the Malaysian government? Could that have been a factor behind the scenes in your view?
I think so. I think that has played quite an important part, and I think with the new Najib's government trying to portray this a new image, international image of being fair and independent judiciary and government and so on and so forth, perhaps that could have also been a factor.
Sankara Naya, what do you know of Anwar Ibrahim's plans now for the future?
Well, as he's given a lot of statements today, he says he intends to go for a big victory. He's going to go ahead with this, which is already there, his campaign for electoral victory. He's going to go again up and down the country, preparing himself for the general election.
And what hurdles still lie ahead of him?
The hurdles will be, of course, political, getting the three parties together and getting a formal and a strong, cohesive coalition. Other than that, I worry that there may be some more legal charges against him. Again, I'm not discounting that. So those would be the hurdles.
When are the general elections likely to be held? And can I ask you this, how does Anwar Ibrahim rate his own prospects?
I think he has made various statements that he's confident of taking over Putrajaya. That is his view. And we don't know when the elections would be held, but they are talking about dates like in June or even March. And also the elections are not due until April of next year, actually.
OK, Sankara Naya, we might leave it there. Thank you very much for talking to the world.
Thanks very much for inviting me.